Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the show. It's great to have you here today on this Total Wellness Tuesday episode, where we are going to be breaking down what exactly zinc ionophores are, why they've been in the news so much, and what that means for you with boosting your immunity, especially this upcoming winter and dis-ease-based season. So really looking forward to bringing this research to you because as I do each and every week, it will be from an unbiased perspective. Plus, I'm not just going to bring you the research and what may work. What I want to do is share with you the actual dosages, the ways to use these nutritional products in a way that's going to boost your immune system, specifically cited by science. So I'll give you the foods to eat. I'll give you the nutritional supplements that you might want to use. All of that, of course, will be your option. But by the end of this show, you will absolutely know why zinc has been in the news so often and why it's recommended by so many health practitioners for dealing with viral-based issues. And yes, even this virus this particular season. So the only reason why I don't state the specific virus that we're in right now with this specific pandemic is you probably saw this in the news. This is now proven fact. Again, a lot of people in the health-based space with a decent-sized following have said their videos have been shown to less and less of their followers. Meaning like, okay, where I used to previously get a video that was viewed 5,000 times or something like that, let's say, like nothing crazy, but let's just say it's that, will now be brought down to maybe 500. Like it's just been dramatically reduced across the board for anyone talking about this from a natural health perspective. Now, the problem is, as you'll start to see, I think that this is devious at best and really criminal at worst for what's going on. And believe it or not, our government is actually now bringing Google to court basically as a monopoly because they are censoring what is being shown, especially on that first page. So this is extremely important because remember, the only way you're going to find out about this particular information are from people who are actually in it, have a clinical practice, that are working with real people and that have been doing this for a number of years. And they simply just want to share with you what works, right? Nothing to buy. Here's exactly what works. Please talk to your family about it. Share with other people in your community because we know that this is what's going to help keep people healthy. That's what it's all about. All right, so let's get right into it. Why have zinc ionophores been in the news the last couple weeks or more, or lately, as you've probably seen it? Well, we've known, again, this is nothing new, but we've known for many, many years that what zinc does is it helps stop viral-based replication. I'm going to get the different ways in which this works in just a moment. But essentially what zinc does, especially inside of the cell, is it helps to destroy the virus. I'll go through the ways in which that happens in just a moment. And without zinc, you're left with a lot of the symptoms that people are now experiencing with this particular virus, this pandemic. And that's that loss of taste or that loss of smell. And way back in January, before technically the pandemic hit, I had what may have been the virus. I don't know, maybe yes, maybe no. But I had never before lost my sense of taste like that before. So much so that I didn't have the same appetite. And also, I lost my taste for coffee. And you know that it's one of those few vices, although it's not necessarily a vice if you don't overdo it. I lost that for about almost 3 weeks. It was over 2 weeks where I had no desire for it. Not only that, as I couldn't even really deal with the taste of it. And so it was very fun. Now, of course, I was taking my zinc and building my stores back up and I got well in 3 to 4 days, like I tell people. And again, now I'm sharing with you the science because we've been in this now for 6-7 months. So the science even shows those people with higher levels of vitamin C and the vitamin zinc and the zinc mineral were able to get well with a virus in about 3 to 4 days time. That's healthy, right? A healthy immune system will get you well in a few days, okay? You're going to get sick. People get sick. That's okay. Getting sick is not the issue. I just want people to know that. Don't be afraid of getting sick. Be afraid of not getting well. Right? That's the issue. You want to get well when you get sick. And that's what our body goes through, that fever that I had and all the different things that my body was experiencing. But it was healing itself. Now, did I give it the nutrients already back in January before any of this news came out? Yes, because this is not new news. It's new news to the world, but in the natural health field, like many of you have been seeing and studying for many years, you've already heard about it. For those that are coming into it, good. We applaud you. We want you as part of this community. So here's the thing though. They also showed in the study those people that were lower on the zinc, the vitamin C that didn't supplement actually took them sometimes 10 days to get well. Now that's not what we want, right? We certainly don't want to be sick for 1 or 2 weeks. We want to get you well within a couple days. That's what it's all about. So let's go through why this works and what zinc ionophores are. Now we know the ionophore is a big word for simply means that it helps get it into the cell. That's really it. That's all you really need to know. It helps with absorption. That's the better way to look at it. It helps your body absorb that nutrient, in this case zinc, to a higher level. So what I want to do is never again give you my biased perspective. I'm actually going to break down about a half a dozen different articles, and by the end of the show, you'll know what the 2 top zinc ionophores are, how much zinc to take, how much vitamin D to take, and how much of those zinc ionophores to take. So let's get right into it. I'm going to put my blue blockers on because I'm staring at a screen, and my eyes don't like staring at screens. I've been doing it way too much lately with all of the writing that I've been doing. Hours and hours a day. So, okay, let's go over that right now. People with this virus have a 2 times greater chance of dying with low zinc. New article that just came out. That's one of the reasons why this is so important. So people with low zinc have 2x the chance of dying with low zinc. Second study. A study involving almost 1,000 people reported a 44% reduction in death among 441 patients who received hydroxychloroquine plus azithromycin, which is kind of like that combo they've been talking about now. Way back, I was talking about this in March, and zinc than those who received just the hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin. I really want to break this down for you. Because 44% reduction in death, that means like half, right? Half. By adding zinc to that. So it wasn't just those drugs they gave people. It was making sure they had a high enough level of zinc. So when you added the hydroxychloroquine plus the azithromycin plus the zinc, the results were dramatically better. And they actually showed the side-by-side comparisons. Yes, I will link that up for you. So all of this will be at StephenCabral.com/1733. StephenCabral.com/1733. StephenCabral.com/1733 for all of these research articles as well. Because remember, your family might not believe you, your friends might not believe you, your coworkers might not believe you, but there is the actual research and literature that we can draw upon, and that's really, really important, all right? So now, I'm going to get, and in that study, just want to let you know, they used 50 milligrams of zinc twice daily, okay, for 5 days on top of those 2 specific drugs. Now, I'm not giving you a treatment plan, right? We're not telling you how to treat this virus if you have it. I'm not talking about a cure or any treatment protocols, right? No diagnosis, no treatment, no cures on the podcast. That is against FDA regulations, and that is not what we do. You're welcome to read the research if you want and draw your own conclusions, but I'm not making those for you. Now, the next step is this. Zinc as a virus blocker. This is on PubMed. Zinc inhibits the virus that we're talking about right now, by the way, and another type of RNA-based virus by using zinc ionophores that block the replication in cells, okay? So we'll be going through all of that as well. You need the zinc, and then you need a zinc ionophore. Now, a lot of people believe that one of the reasons why that antimalarial drug, that autoimmune drug, hydroxychloroquine, works for people, and again, this is not political, right? Take all of that out of the equation. All we're looking at is how do we help the most amount of people in the world get well? That's it. That's all we're talking about. How do we help people heal? But they're saying that one of the reasons why hydroxychloroquine or hydroxychloroquine, depending on how you like to pronounce it, one of the reasons why it works so well, especially with zinc, is that it is a zinc ionophore, which means it helps zinc to get into your cells better. And that makes sense because we know that zinc can destroy this virus. Okay, we already went through the most common symptoms of the loss of smell, the loss of taste, all of those things, the achy limbs, sometimes the loose stool, which can all be associated with a lack of zinc, right? An imbalance in zinc homeostasis, as it's called. I'm going to read you another study. Zinc gluconate, and I'll give you I have about 4 best forms of zinc for you to take, so I'm going to give you lots of options. But for regular viruses, zinc gluconate, for example, releases high amounts of ionic zinc, whereas zinc aspartate releases none. Upon examining only the relevant studies where high doses of ionic zinc were used, a clear reduction of a cold duration of 42% was calculated. So it reduced the cold from a virus by 42%. Pretty amazing. Whether it was caused by viral inhibition, improved local immune response, or amelioration of symptoms remain uncertain. So we know that zinc works. We don't always know why it works in every specific virus, because you can link up different types of viruses. For example, you can link up herpes virus, you can link up HPV, you can link up this particular virus we're dealing with right now. You can look up herpes zoster. You can look up mononucleosis. You can look up Epstein-Barr virus. And you can see that these viruses actually all across the board do really well with zinc. Okay, all studied across the board. And again, I'll give you all the different forms in just a moment. This study on PubMed goes on to say it's evident that zinc possesses antiviral properties against a number of viral species. Although mechanistic studies are lacking, zinc appears to inhibit viral protease and polymerase enzymatic processes, as well as physical processes such as virus attachment, infection, and uncoating. I'll break those down in just a moment. And in this study, about 33 milligrams was used, right? So far we have about 33 milligrams to 50 milligrams when someone is sick. All right, really, really important. So we know that zinc works. We're going to talk about how to drive it in the cell well in just a moment. One more I have to share with you, because yes, we know vitamin C works as well. But if you are not using vitamin D, I have to share just a couple quick tidbits for you as well. So it's almost like if you don't use anything else in the world, use vitamin D, use zinc. I mean, I would say you have to use vitamin C as well. It's so inexpensive. And it works, right? But here's just a couple studies on vitamin D. Vitamin D deficiency were more likely to test, so those people with vitamin C deficiency were more likely to test positive for the virus, the current pandemic, that causes this particular virus than people who had normal levels of vitamin D. Okay, so more likely to test positive, meaning like get it in the first place, okay? More than 40% of the US population is deficient in vitamin D, hence many, many people getting the virus. Okay, let me see if I can break this down for you specifically. 51.5%, you were 51.5% less likely to die from this particular virus if you had even just low normal levels of vitamin D, above 30 nanograms per milliliter. And you were twice as likely to have major complications if infected and potentially die, twice as likely if you had lower levels of vitamin D. Below 30 nanograms per milliliter, some say below 20 nanograms per milliliter. Either way, it's way too low. I can't recommend enough running your 25-hydroxy vitamin D test to find out what your vitamin D levels are. You can run it right at home through equa.life. You can go to that website and you can order the stress, mood, and metabolism test. And that actually comes with all your hormone levels, cortisol levels, thyroid levels, insulin, hemoglobin A1C, and vitamin D. That's the best test out there running. You can do it right at home. You don't need your doctor's A-OK on that. So that's a beautiful thing, is being able to open source these labs to you. Equa.life is EQUI.LIFE for that particular lab. And your ideal levels from a functional medicine perspective should be between 50 and 70 nanograms per milliliter. Some people will go higher. I don't necessarily push it higher because it's pushing the immune system a bit. But of course, you could if you were dealing with a particular issue and working with your own integrative health practitioner or naturopathic doctor, functional medicine doctor, etc. So just look on that lab test for your own number to be between 50 and 70. Because remember, the lab range could be 30 to 100 nanograms per milliliter, and you might be a 31. But a 31's not going to cut it. Honestly, it's not. Some even go to 20 to 80 or 20 to 100. And we know right now that if you're not above a 30, well, you're at least twice as likely to become sick and potentially die from this particular virus if your vitamin D levels are low. And if you're like where I'm from, Boston, vitamin D is only sufficient for about 4 months of the year, which means you have to supplement. There's no other way around it. If you are not getting a tan or maintaining a tan, you're low in vitamin D most likely you are if you're not supplementing. And a lot of people say, well, it's summertime, so I'm getting enough vitamin D. Are you? You might not, because if you're using suntan lotion or sunblock and you're not getting the tan, just because there's sun in the sky doesn't mean you're getting vitamin D. So most people need to supplement. And again, I'll give you that in just a moment for the exact dosages. Okay, so the last thing I want to say in this before I bring those zinc ionophores forward is we know how important zinc is, of course. We know how important vitamin D is, of course. And we know vitamin C. And it's just these things are like maximum, maybe $2 to $3 a day. Honestly, maybe $2 to $3 a day. And if it could prevent you from becoming infected, great. Again, we can't say that it's a cure, treatment, anything like that, or they're going to stop it. You can get sick. You absolutely can. But the whole goal is just to get well fast, 3 or 4 days. Like that's the goal, right? So I can't believe, well, I can, because remember, the media is not your friend. They're not out to help you. They have a particular agenda, and their agenda is to keep you tuned in. And it's been studied through behavioral science for many, many years, through social psychology, that people stay tuned in more because of negative and worry than they do for positive. So they found that you're more likely to tune into your evening news if you're always trying to figure out what to watch out for. Because in that old limbic part of the brain, we're always trying to figure out, what are we worried about? What do we need to watch out for, right? And so the news brings us this, like, oh, this is what's bad happening. This is happening. This is happening. Watch out for this. So they're always bringing you the negatives, and they're not also finishing the story. So it's like, hey, tune back tomorrow night. And that's what they do. So that's their particular agenda. It's, again, like, this is not, I didn't make this up, right? This is exactly what it is. So they're not sharing you how to put your worries at ease, because then, you might not need to tune in to the news, because what are they really sharing with you? Like, what is the news really sharing with you that you can't get on a quick search on your own, right? Nothing, right? So it's not good. It's not good to fill your mind with that, especially before bed. And then you end up arguing with your neighbors about this with information that isn't actually from a particular source, or it's just cherry-picked. We know across the board that these things work. And that's why I find this, again, devious, and if not downright criminal, that people are not being told, take this zinc, take this vitamin D, take this vitamin C. I mean, it's honestly, it's not a cure-all, but you should take it, right? And everybody should take it. Like, that's such a big part of this. Really, really important to me. Now let's get into it. What are the two main zinc ionophores? The two main zinc ionophores are this: quercetin. Quercetin, where can you find quercetin? All right, let me give you the food-based. Quercetin food-based, two main things: elderberries and onions. Now you might say, well, I heard elderberry actually has been scientifically proven to kill the flu virus as well as many other viruses. And I would say, yes, you are correct. And one of those reasons is that it's the top zinc ionophore, right? So now we start to understand, there are levels to this. It's not necessarily just elderberry. It's what elderberry also helps with the body. So elderberry is a big one. Another one, again, I gave you red onions, white onions. Those are very powerful. And cranberries. Those are the highest. Now, I know people aren't going to be using those on a daily basis. I get it. Maybe you are, maybe you're not, okay? Maybe you're on the CBO protocol. You're not adding onions right now. That's okay. Maybe you don't want to use elderberry every day. That's okay. That's your choice, right? So you can put cranberries in your smoothie. That would be okay. Like, they're a little bitter, but it's actually, quite good for you. But also peppers, honey, should be raw, raspberries, red grapes, cherries, citrus fruits, and green leafy veggies like kale and spinach also have high levels of quercetin as well. I'm going to give you the supplements in just a moment, but I want to be able to give you the food sources. And the second zinc ionophore is EGCG. And EGCG stands for, don't quote me on this, epigocatechin. I can never remember exactly what it is, but I want to make sure that you get the exact EGCG pronunciation here, or not pronunciation, but exactly what it is. And it is epigallocatechin gallate. So there you go. Epigallocatechin gallate. And that is what we're looking for the second zinc ionophore. Now, this is easy. This is an easy one. And I've talked about this before. I've done actually a Friday review on EGCG, which is what it stands for. Most people don't actually say the word. And that is from green tea. Organic green tea, matcha, or organic green tea. Organic, ceremonial blend, wild, any of those are fine. Green tea is one of the best ways to be able to get the EGCG, and also probably the most potent form. Other forms, though, would be white, oolong, and black teas would have lower levels of that. And certain fruit, I'm going to go back to it again, cranberries have quercetin and they have EGCG. So that's why it might be nice to add those to your smoothie every morning, even if it's just a quarter cup. Strawberries, blackberries, kiwis, cherries, pears, peaches, apples, avocados, some nuts like pecans, pistachios, and hazelnuts also have EGCG as well. I'm going to link up, and I'll just write out those specific quercetin and EGCG foods at stephencabral.com/1733. And now I want to share with you essentially how I would do this for myself. I'm not giving you a treatment plan. Okay, we're not giving you a cure. We can't do those things, right? FDA doesn't want that. So here's what we want to do. What I would do for myself and what I'm doing for my family is doing 25 to 50 milligrams per day of zinc, okay? So it has to start with zinc. You need zinc in your body for these zinc ionophores to even work, right? Elderberry's great, but it certainly doesn't come before zinc, okay? So I just want to make sure that, right? Elderberry's great, but it doesn't come before vitamin D, and same with vitamin C, all right? So herbs are great. We want those, but get the nutrients that your body needs in first, and then allow those to be that icing on the cake. Okay, so favorite forms of zinc to use that we know proven to work for the immune system. Chelated zinc, zinc sulfate, zinc citrate, zinc gluconate, zinc picolinate. Probably not using zinc aspartate, okay? So those are the forms of zinc that we look for. 25 to 50 milligrams a day is what I'm personally using myself, recommending for my family. You do what you feel is best for you. And I'm using that through the winter. Okay, if you get sick, you could double the dosage if you wanted to. Now, for vitamin D, it's typically 35 IUs per pound of body weight. My daughters, they're 6 and 8 years old. They're getting about 1,000 IUs a day. I'm getting between 4,000 and 5,000 IUs a day, and same with my wife. So 35 IUs per day. This is what I do. I take my daily nutritional support shake every morning. That has 400 IUs, so a smaller amount, but it meets the daily requirement. But I'm getting the amount that I actually need because I live in Boston. So I'm taking 4,000 IUs. On top of that, it's simply just 4 drops of a liquid vitamin D, easy. So I'm getting 4,400 a day. And if my body's ever getting run down, I'll add 1 more drop, which is 1,000 IUs more. Now, for a short period of time, you could also double that if needed. I don't recommend, though, using these big dosages, even 10,000 IUs, like once a week. So a lot of people say, I'm just going to take my vitamin D once a week. That's not the best way to do it. And it's also been shown to potentially break and pull calcium from the bones. Not a good thing, right? We don't want to cause osteoporosis or hardening of the arteries because we're taking in vitamin D and pulling it into the bloodstream. So I take my vitamin D with my shake in the morning, and that has magnesium in as well. And it also has vitamin K in it, right? So you don't need vitamin K and magnesium and those other things in your vitamin D product if you're taking them with a daily activated multivitamin or something like the daily nutritional support. All right, next one is this. So vitamin D, 35 IUs per pound of body weight is what I do for me. You'll do, of course, what you feel is best for you. The last one is vitamin C. Vitamin C is easy, 1 to 3 grams a day in divided doses. Don't take 3 grams all at once. It's not the end of the world. You can, no big deal. But I prefer that you break that up twice a day if possible. 1 capsule in the morning, 1 capsule at night, or I use a full spectrum magnesium. And then you can also add the alkalizing vitamin C for another kick of 2.5 grams of vitamin C if you choose to. So again, like these things are all easy to do. That kind of sets the stage. And then if you're not feeling well, again, then you can start to add in more of the other items if you'd like. One thing I will tell you, because I always am very honest with you, I let you know exactly what I'm doing. I'm also using a product called Hist Pro, and by Equilife. And again, I manufacture, I formulate, I create all of these specific products. But I use this, and it has 400 milligrams of quercetin. Again, you can use any brand in the world that you choose to. That's totally fine. But quercetin, typical dosage, just want to give you this, 200 milligrams to 1,200 milligrams per day. Okay? I don't believe in going on those high dosages, like above 1,000 milligrams for daily use. But I get a lot of benefit from balancing cytokine levels and kind of immune system with quercetin. Quercetin is amazing. I'm going to be talking more about quercetin on an upcoming show, so certainly stay tuned for that. All podcasts are at stephencabral.com/podcast. But with quercetin, I'm taking about 400 milligrams per day with the Hist Pro, super simple. And the last one would be with the EGCG. So the only thing with the EGCG is that I'm typically not supplementing a high dosage with that, but I'm really okay with 100 milligrams or so to, let's say, again, 400 milligrams or so a day. Some people will go up to 800 milligrams. There are studies with people doing 800 milligrams a day with no real issues. And again, balancing that immune system as well. It helps with detox, etc. So a couple hundred milligrams a day, absolutely no issue with that. There's actually some longevity-based benefits potentially as well. I'll be talking about that in the future. But these are things also to go at a little higher dosage if you were to end up getting sick. So if I were to end up getting sick, for me, again, not necessarily for anybody else, I would increase my zinc to 75 milligrams a day. I'd increase my vitamin D between 5 and 10,000 IUs a day. I'd increase my vitamin C to 5 to 10 grams a day divided throughout the day. I'd take my quercetin up to 1,200 milligrams, and I would be adding in elderberry and other things for the EGCG, and I would use this supplement for EGCG because I'm just not a fan of green tea. Now, my wife's a huge fan of green tea, so she'd be happy taking that. I'm just not, so I personally would use the nutritional supplement. But I'm only going to do those things if I get sick, and that's why I want to share with you there are levels to this, and you don't need to do everything all at once. But again, you have everything that you need right now so that if you ever were to get sick or anything were to happen, then you're prepared. And then that allows you to put your mind at ease. And that's really, hopefully, what the Cabral concept is all about: learning, educating, and then, of course, sharing that information. So if this podcast was helpful, please do feel free to share this information with anyone you believe it could serve.